where do we need to put our elbows when we are bench pressing in order to maximize safety and minimize injury, but also we want to be in a strong position. So there's no exact degree or angle to put the elbow in and say, okay, here is safe, and if you go a little bit further, you're going to get injured. It can vary from person to person based on the anatomy of their shoulder, based on other things like how much you arch your grip with, all those kind of things. And also, sometimes things can be just bad luck, okay? Everyone is different when it comes to injuries as far as what injuries they come with, what other exercises they may be doing that may injure the same area, what kind of volume you're doing, how your shoulder is made up, that kind of stuff. But what we can think about in general is that if we have our elbow further out away from our body, okay, that is then going to close off the shoulder joint, and then also the muscles, tendons and ligaments that cross that shoulder joint may be in a bad position as we start moving down. It may trap it, okay? So some people talk about like shoulder impingement and maybe like tearing a rotator cuff muscle or something like that. It's because we are kind of closing off that joint when we raise our arm, and then as we go through our range of motion, we may be trapping the muscle in between the bones, and then over time, that can cause a tear. So depending on the person's anatomy of how much that shoulder joint is getting closed off and exactly how the muscle is running, everything like that will vary. So some people may be able to do a certain distance as far as having the elbow very far out and not have any issues. And then some people will have issues. So some people, if they're doing, let's say, dumbbell bench way out here or a barbell bench way out here, maybe they don't have any issues. Some people feel a lot of pain. Same thing if dips. If people put their elbows out more in dips, some people feel a lot of pain in the front of their shoulders, some people don't. So it just varies from person to person as far as how the anatomy of their shoulder is built. But we want to be mindful and be careful if we have our elbow too far out, okay? Say we have 90 degrees here between our torso and our elbow, then as we go further and further down, we may be risking that issue as far as the impingement of the shoulder and injuring the muscles around it. If we have the elbow closer to the body, then we're going to have that shoulder joint more open and not have as many issues. This is why when we bench press, we do want to think a little bit about tucking our elbows in and putting our shoulder in a safer position. Also, this is why we want to arch and minimize the range of motion, and also be able to pull our shoulder blades back to put them in a safer position. So all these things that we're doing is to put the shoulder in a safer position. If we minimize the range of motion, we're not going as deep into the bottom to cause any issues. Also, if we touch on a high point on our chest or torso, again, we're minimizing the range of motion. And so that in that bottom position, okay, we're trying to set ourselves up for as much success as possible to minimize the injury. Then as we're pressing up and we're back into a safe position, we can always flare our elbows back out. So if you see someone when they are at the top of their lift, if they have their elbows out, that's fine because we're not in a deep position here. And then also as we're pressing up, maybe like halfway up, if we flare the elbows back out, for most people it's gonna be fine because we are in a good position. It's that bottom part that can be more dangerous for people and that we have to be careful. So some people will say maybe around 60 degrees. Some people maybe say more like 45 degrees, but it really depends on the person. It depends on how much you can arch, where you touch, how wide of a grip you take. All these factors come into exactly where you're going to be touching on the chest and where that elbow position is going to be. So there's not going to be one exact thing. We also don't want to overdo it because here, then you're just going to be taking a lot of the chest at the moment. So we do want to find that kind of middle ground position, but we do want to be careful of going too far out, like 90 degrees or even more, where then we can cause that shoulder impingement and maybe cause a tear of the rotator cuff muscle or something else like that. Our next question is regarding how to find your first powerlifting competition. So if you're someone who's just training in the gym, you like doing strength training